Okay, guys, welcome back. I'm Sarah James, and we are on day 2 of the shelving project in Cam's home office. And it's raining outside. Southern California, it's raining outside. And rain, cloudy, just makes me feel like laying down on a couch and watching a nice, cozy movie. But we're putting up cam shelves. That is the project of the day. And I came down here earlier this morning, and what I did is I was just making sure that everything was not just level, but also square to the wall, assuming that the wall is square. But I was just holding this up to the different brackets to make sure that it was sitting square to it. Because once I do the pre-drilling on the wood, and these are off by a hair, even if it's just a little bit, it's just gonna make it harder to get those shelves in. So I wanted to make sure, and I'm glad I did, because I found about 3 so far, or 4, that needed to be adjusted. So if this is the wall, they were sitting a little bit like this or a little bit inside. So what I did was I took off the brackets, because this is the first time doing this. I've never done the brackets directly onto the studs before. So I'm still getting the hang of it, and I like it. I think it's a lot sturdier than any other hanging shelf I've ever put up before. It is a little bit more work though. I mean, you're drilling holes in here, cutting out the drywall, and there's a lot to cut out. I mean, there's a layer of basically cardboard, this drywall, and then another layer of cardboard. So it's a lot to cut out, and if you don't get it through all the way, then you're pulling that out. I did a video yesterday and showed the process, and I didn't want to lie about it. I didn't want to speed it up. I only did a handful of brackets. I think I don't know how many I did. There's a lot on the wall. But I didn't get to all of them. I left about 4 or 6 out, and it still took a while to just pull all that stuff out with the pliers. So this is my first time doing it directly onto the studs, and we're still getting it down. But I'm glad I did this method and just adjusted a couple of them. And I shot a little video on my phone. I'm gonna link that somewhere in this video. A little bit of a close-up if the camera's not that great, but bear with it, because it does show that what I did was pretty simple. If it's pulling in, because the brackets, and I showed this on the other video, the brackets only have 2 holes on one side. You really would have been nice to have a 3rd hole in there, but I digress, because I've already said that multiple times yesterday. So this bracket, if you get these, I got them online, I'll post another link down. If you get these, I think it's a good idea, if you're gonna drill them directly into the studs, to put a 3rd hole here. It would have made it a lot easier, because when these 2 screws pull in, it pulls the bracket in. And if you have a piece that's a little bit off, because a handful of these that I'm working with are actually 2x4s, and there's a little bit of foam in between them. So if one of those is off a little bit and this doesn't hit that part, then it's going to pull in, if that makes sense. It should. Just think of it. Meditate on it. I'll try to show it to you. But it's going to pull in on one of the sides, which just makes it a little bit harder to deal with. But what I realized is, just by saving that cardboard, and I have a couple pieces down here. Let me see if I can grab some. Whew, okay, I'm back. So if you have a couple of these pieces of cardboard that you've pulled out from cutting the drywall out of the wall, this cardboard is kind of thick. It's just like layers, basically. And so what I've done is, on the parts that is pulled in, I've just taken some of this scrap and cut down, about this much, like so. Just cut it down, and then put it on the side that is actually pulling in more. So that way it has something to back up against. I think that makes sense. It's morning, it's raining, bear with me. I'm still waking up. I had a belly full of tater tots last night, and I just did not want to get out of bed this morning. the voice in my head was saying, stop with the tots. But man, those tots just got to me. So I had to go for it. And now I'm kind of in this mood of, well, there's things to do. I'd like to be curled up watching a good movie, yet I'm happy to be here. So I'm putting these two pieces in the wall because this, I'm gonna pull this over closer, a little closer, don't be shy. This piece right here, if you can see it, that's two different pieces of wood. This piece right here is sticking out just a hair. This piece is not. So when I'm putting the screw in, it's pulling it against that piece and it's making it go off a little bit. So I'm just gonna put a couple pieces in there. And then put the bracket back in, and that should pull it enough where it doesn't go off. And I'll put the camera back. And since I'm talking to you guys, I might have forgotten which side it was actually on, but I'm gonna try this one and see how that goes. So I'm still learning this whole filming thing too. I'm just gonna scoot this over. I'm gonna scoot this over. Okay. I'm still learning this camera thing. And right now I'm just shooting on my computer because my phone quality just is not good in this space at all. So it doesn't actually capture much beside the overhead light. So I'm still learning this whole thing, and bear with me, I'm just working on my computer and it's a little bigger to move around than just a phone. Really made it good. So let me adjust this. Yeah, it's just a matter of playing around with it and seeing where you can move things around to get that leveled out. You might not always get it on the first try, but that's okay. That's okay. Awesome, awesome sauce. I don't know if you can see that. But it's just right up against that. So sometimes it's just playing around with it just a little bit, and who cares if you don't get it exactly right the first time. Try it again. You might be pleasantly surprised with yourself. Awesome. Now that is good and sturdy. It's straight, so when I get my piece of shelving for this and I pre-drill it, it should go straight in instead of giving me such a hard time with trying to adjust and shove, and it's just me. One thing that I have learned from St. Corona is to try to be nicer to my body, be kinder to the vessel that I'm in. I've gotten hurt on the job before, and I've suffered from 2 pinched nerves that just went down my left side for months, right at the beginning of Corona. Now I don't want to put that strain on my body so much, so I don't want to be on a ladder and, oh God, oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back. I want to be kind to my body, so I'd rather just take the time to make sure that it's as easy as it could be and then go from there. So I'm going to do the rest of these, and hopefully we won't have a lot more to do. This one is off. I don't know if you can see. So that's off just a bit. It's not too crazy, but I could get it a little bit better on that. So I'll take that off. Woo! Again, I want to thank the guy over at Burden Moth. I really appreciate learning something. I could never say that I know everything there is to know about building. I'm always open to learning something new. I'm always excited about learning something new. So thank you for passing on that tip, making a video, and sharing it with people like me that want to try it. So since this one was pulling this way, I want to put a piece of cardboard on this side that it was pulling into. I like working in an organized space as much as possible.
Unfortunately, sometimes when you're getting into a project like this, things can kind of get piled up pretty quick, and little scraps and trash and all that other stuff can get a little out of hand. So I always like to just start off in an organized space. And it makes it a lot easier to find things that way too, I've realized. When I was in high school, I was known as having one of the messiest lockers. My locker was always so filled with things. I don't even know what. I don't think I really took a lot of homework home, so I think I just kind of like put everything in there, any paper, anything that I could find. I don't even know. That's probably why my motivation for studying wasn't that high. It was just such a chaos. I think I have this to grab onto. It gives me some more pull action, some more leverage there. Now, it's perfect. What a little tiny adjustment to make such a huge difference. 1/8 of an inch can mean such a big difference. Just frustration or ease. I'd rather take the ease. I like ease. Why not choose ease? This is relatively easy. I wasn't sure this morning when I was thinking about it. These brackets, the base of them are 2 inches about. So let's see. My whole plan, what I was planning to do was use 2x just to have one solid piece. I really like having reclaimed wood as much as possible, but distressing it. And the whole box, I've made boxes before. I don't mind them. I don't love them. But I've made tables of just like 2x10s, and I love those. So it's just the wood that I'm working with. I really wanted to use 2x on this, and the base of them, this hole is 2 inches. If you've seen wood at lumber yards, usually it's off whatever they say, it's like 2 inches. It's typically not a full 2 inches. So I was a little bit stressed about that this morning, of not being able to cover that piece. And I know that there's options. I tried a couple, what I did, I haven't patched it up yet, but the pieces that I've cut out of the wall, I just cut those, then I can patch this, paint it, and you won't even be able to see it. But the thing I came across too, the worry that I had, was what if in the future somebody wants to remove these and they don't know how to remove them? They're pulling them from the wall. I know how to remove them because I'm putting them up here. And I know that you can just easily cut that piece out. In my mind, I know that. But if I patch it up and they don't know that, then it might be a little bit harder for them to get the shelves off. They might think that they just need to like cut everything down with a reciprocating saw, which wouldn't be hard, but it wouldn't be that fun either. So I was a little bit worried about that. And like I said yesterday, we're not there, we're here. So I have complete faith that this is all gonna work out. I have complete faith that this is all gonna work out. I say that just with so much hope in my heart that this is all gonna work out, because this is my name on it. And I really appreciate this. I did a home office for Cam at his apartment that he was in, and I knew how to take the things down that I put up because I put them up. So when he was ready to move, he just called me and I went and zip, zip, zap, zap, and it was done. He didn't need to call in anybody else. And now I'm here, and I think he knows that he can call me if he needed me to remove these shelves. And I would be there, most likely, or I would tell him how I did it. So yeah, that's what I can do. That's what I would put out there. Right now I'm just going for it because it's too late now. All the holes are in the walls, so we're gonna see how this turns out at the end. It's my first time. But if you don't try, how will you know? I mean, come on, I don't have all the answers. But if you don't try, how will you know? My dad taught me a lot of what I know with just growing up. He was a handyman and I was able to work with him. And that was awesome. That was awesome. And I also realized that he didn't know everything, and I could learn a lot from other people as well. And he could learn some things from me, and I learned things that I didn't learn from him. I just learned by doing them, by experimenting. So we all grow. I feel like we're almost running out of that cardboard. I know I have more though, but I'm gonna have to go digging in the garbage bag that I have to find it. This is why it's always nice to just kind of put things aside. I didn't know I was going to be using these, so lesson learned. If I'm doing this again, I'll make sure that I save some of these pieces. I'm just cutting. This is on my Raising Vibration playlist. It's on this song. It's amazing. Ain't nobody crying. Can you see that? I feel like I never know where my body is. So I can already tell that this is not moved over more. I'm still gonna have to move it over a little bit. So I'm definitely calling in a new iPhone, a recording device that will capture everything that I'm trying to do without me needing to move a ton of things around, just a good camera. I'm calling that in. I'm calling that in. You guys here. And when I worked with my dad when I was a kid, he would always just share stories all day long. I would be laying some tile and he'd be sharing stories of his life. When I'm working, I'm typically working alone, so I have nobody to share my stories with while I'm working. So this is for you, Daddy. I'm passing this on. I'm so lonely. But it is nice to talk to somebody while I'm working. Let's see how that is. I put quite a bit in that time. I don't know how many pieces, but it's definitely sticking out more. But that one was going out quite a bit. Okay, let's see. It still could go out more. I mean, I'll show you guys. Okay, so that is up against the wall, and do you see? It's hard to see. But this is what I'm working with. This is all on my Raising Vibration playlist. Anytime I'm feeling a little lower vibration or, just need a pick-me-up, music heals. That's a fact. Music heals, but it also raises your vibration. So when I'm working, I just want to listen to something that keeps me happy and keeps me motivated. And that can be anything. It changes a lot. Okay, so. It just doesn't seem right. But yeah. And so there's pieces still in here. I'm gonna try digging that out too. Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm playing around and seeing what works to adjust it just the right way you want it. Okay. How I said I like to have an organized space, that doesn't mean that I organized the space this morning. Something that I actually like doing when I'm done working, I like to just clear off the space so when I come in, it's like everything's new and waiting for me. And I just didn't feel like it last night, so I didn't. Don't worry about a thing. Don't worry. Yay! And that did the trick. That was it. It's just taking out a little bit more of the cardboard that was back there. So that's all. These are all level, they're all square, and now we're ready to go to Home Depot. One of my favorite places. I got my orange on, representing. We're gonna go there and we're gonna take a look at the wood that they have. maybe some pieces will come resonating with me, and I'll grab those and get going on the shelving. That's the game plan. That's the game plan. And it's also raining outside. LA vibers and rain, you know that don't mix, right? Kidding. Most of them are from the Midwest. Most of them know how to drive in rain. I feel like you just forget when you're out here or something. It's so rare that you have it. I'm gonna clean up this a little bit, get ready for my Home Depot trip, because I don't want to bring in all that wood and have a cluttered space. And you guys can hang out and watch me clean up my workspace. I'll probably just fast forward through it anyway.